I think it's your turn.
My turn?
Yeah.
All right. Let me get pumped. Okay. I'm good.
You doing a line?
I'm just trying to get psyched, get ready for the show.
I'm always psyched.
Intros is the hardest part, man.
Okay.
Gotta do this shit right. We only have one chance to get it right.
Then there's all the other chances.
Unless we just redo the whole thing. So yeah, this is Don't Get Your Hopes Up. Welcome, everybody, including all of you folks watching at home live right now. Hey, yeah.
I thought we weren't going to do that.
We're not doing that. So I'm here with my buddy Josh, a.k.a. Lore. Hi, how are you?
I'm good.
That's good. And we have, that was shorter than I expected, and we're here now 2 weeks in a row, which I believe is a record for us, actually, lately.
For a while, yeah.
Which is good.
We've managed to not only do two weeks in a row, but actually we've recorded them both at the actual appropriate time.
Ish.
Instead of having to be, well, ish, yeah, but like, it's at least the right day.
It's the ballpark.
I'll settle for the right day.
Yes, yeah, no, you're right. So it's usually we skip weeks whenever there's not a whole lot of stuff going on, and it's funny because like a week like this, it's like, I feel like if there was, as an example, if the Division beta opened up like right now, we would not be doing the show. We would be playing the Division right now.
We would be, yeah.
Which is probably something we should actually probably. Hey, let's talk about that. Actually, that starts tomorrow morning, early, I guess.
Yeah, I will be at work.
The usual.
Yeah.
Yeah, it starts tomorrow morning, and they're adding a bunch of stuff, and they're making a lot of changes. So I think what we're going to see tomorrow is going to be more reflective of what we're going to get from the actual release.
Yes, that is how development timelines work, is the closer you get to the release of the game.
I'm just saying this beta is going to have shit in it.
The closer it looks to the finished
yes,
product.
Of course. I'm going to fucking throw some shit at you right now.
Yes.
It's going to be specifically, if I had to spell it out, the...
Can you even spell specifically?
Oh yeah. Couldn't you kidding me, dude?
Okay.
I'll spell right now, but I won't because we have stuff to talk about.
I believe you.
So, so specifically the anti-cheat stuff we might see tomorrow.
Yeah, anti-cheat stuff they say should be in, and we're gonna get a real good, especially since it's open beta, where people can make 1,000 accounts and try whatever they want. We're gonna get a real good idea of how well that anti-cheat stuff is gonna work, at least initially.
Yeah.
We'll see if they've managed to plug up all the holes that were there in the closed beta a few weeks ago, and we'll see not if it's unhackable, because nothing really is unhackable. That's just kind of the nature of things and how it works.
Right.
What we're gonna see instead is if it's stupid easily hackable still.
Yeah, that's the big thing. It's like every game is hackable. It's gonna happen.
Yep.
And they can always, once they have something in place, they could always increase it and make it more strict. It's can I just open up like Notepad Plus and like do it? Yeah, suddenly I'm hacking this game, man. So yeah, that's something to look forward to. I guess Xbox players are gonna get that early. Yay for them! It's been a winning week for them. They got Rocket League too. Yay, woo!
They may actually have it already as we're recording this.
I word on the street. Chat is 1 a.m.
Okay.
It starts for them. So I mean, basically in like hours. And then there's in terms of like other shit that's happened this week. Twitchcon's going to be happening.
Yeah.
And that's actually happening in San Diego.
Yeah, down more towards my neck of the woods, which is nice. San Diego is actually only about an hour drive from where I am. So,
which it's
cool.
It's funny, like I don't mind driving to LA for E3 or BlizzCon.
Yeah, that's like a 7-hour drive or something.
For me, getting to LA is like 5 hours, right?
That's still a long ass drive.
5 hours is a perfect drive. Are you kidding me? That's like the ideal time you want for a drive, right? For like
that's just long enough to make me contemplate suicide.
So I used to do the Vegas drive a lot, and that's like a minimum of like 8.5, 9 hours. If you're not doing like 100, if you're doing like 100, you could do it in like 7. But yeah, that's a painful one. That's like I really want my car when I'm there kind of drive. But going to LA, it's like 5 hours. Like I'll do that, right? I mean, I'll even do that on the weekend to come hang out with you and get some drinks or whatever, right?
Oh, you should do that then, Dick.
I know I should. I'm so lazy is the problem.
So now you're not actually willing to do that on the weekend.
No, no, that's the thing. It's like the mind is willing, but the body isn't. That's a saying, right?
No. I'll totally do it. I mean, I won't do it, but I'll totally do it. But I totally won't. But I totally will. But I totally won't.
So the problem is that San Diego, I have to drive all the way through LA.
Yeah.
To get to it. And so like going to LA, it's like once you get to LA, yeah, sure, I can get there in like 4 hours, or sorry, 2.5 hours, and then another 2.5 hours to get to the center of LA because of how fucked up the whole thing is. But going through LA into another city that is connected by basically 1.5 roads.
Yeah.
Sucks.
Yeah, like I live south of LA already, so getting from here to San Diego, I basically don't have to worry about the 5 at all. Mm-hmm. And I can just be like, right, fuck it, just heading straight. It's actually quicker for me to get to San Diego. Like thinking about it, actually, I'm pretty sure it's actually quicker for me to get to San Diego than it is for me to get to LA from here. Depending on the time of day, at least.
Yeah, time of day. Yeah, because the 5 is basically an arterial between LA and San Diego, so you're not gonna take like the 1 or whatever the fuck. Like that's not what you want to do. But still, I have a bunch of family down there that I think I'm gonna be at my next family reunion and be like, hey man, I should come down and like hang out for a few days and basically make that like Twitch weekend or whatever. Because it's 3 days now, right?
Yeah, it's up to 3 days, which is really, really interesting because I'm not sure what they're going to do with the third day. Like, you were there for 1 day last year, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And that was the day that we did everything. And then there was the other day, and that one was less useful. And so what I'm kind of thinking here is, so last year's TwitchCon was a whole lot of everyone figuring out what even is TwitchCon.
Yeah, true.
Including Twitch, like trying to figure out if we do this, what happens. And so I kind of feel like maybe they've gotten some good ideas since then of other stuff that they can do with a third day. I think there needs to be like what I would really like to see is a lot more networking opportunities. Mm-hmm. Because with the number of streamers there, with the number of gaming companies there, these are people that want to talk to each other. Like I was trying to find ways to meet with people that wanted to talk about WoW.
You could have stood in line with all the other kids getting their autographs and stuff.
I mean, I could have stood in line and talked to one person. Instead, I just decided to wander around with a shirt that said Overwatch on it, and that was good enough because having my Overwatch jacket on, everybody was like, "Oh, you have an Overwatch jacket? Do you work for Blizzard?" And I said, "Yes." Let's talk about World of Warcraft.
Now that you got your foot in the door, let's go and talk about something else.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know why I didn't think to bring my WoW jacket. I have like 3 or 4 of them. It was just whatever. But yeah, like I think maybe more networking opportunities. I think if they can iron out their panels, because a lot of the panels they had last year were kind of weird / useless, or the people on the panel didn't really know what they were doing there. Mm-hmm. Like I remember you and I went to go and see one that Soda Poppin' was in, and it just kept like someone would ask a question, and then someone would talk about Minecraft for a while. And then it would get down to Soda Poppin', and he'd just be like, I don't remember what the question was.
That's right. Every time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so it was kind of like a mixed bag for us, for me anyways, because I was only there for 1 day. And it was like, we did I feel like we did a lot. Like we walked around, we checked out various booths, and for us, because we have a lot of industry contacts, it's a little bit different, and we have a lot of experience doing this stuff. It's considerably different. It's like, I go to Twitch alerts. It's like, yeah, I know the guy. I know the guy personally that built Twitch alerts, right? Fish Sticks, like, hey, what's up? When Elgato, hey, there's fucking Stan. Sure, we had to stand in line and talk to Stan because Stan's super popular. But yeah, so then we go to these little keynotes or whatever, and it's like, oh, they're talking about a bunch of shit we already know. It's like, okay, next. But the Survivor Games thing, the H1Z1 event that happened there, that was like that's actually like BlizzCon. Like, I love going to BlizzCon because games I normally wouldn't watch on stream, like, like I don't necessarily go to my way to watch like an arena tournament at home, but if
they're good.
Huh? I know I should. You're right. I totally should. I should. But if I'm at BlizzCon, you're fucking damn right. I'm gonna be sitting there in that crowd. Heroes of the Storm, yes, I'm gonna be sitting in that crowd. Even fucking StarCraft, I'll go hang out over there and sit in that crowd because it's like, it's great to be a part of that crowd, to be a part of that. It's like going to watch like a sports match or a baseball game or something like that. Like being part of that energy and everything.
Yeah, exactly. Like having everybody around you and people are getting excited about stuff, and like people talk all the time about like especially if you've just watched esports events online, you always hear commentators talking about like, oh, the energy of this crowd right now, it's electric. But then once you're actually like there and sitting there, like either sitting in the audience or even like I've been able to cast BlizzCon a few times now, like just being up there casting, like you seriously just feed off of that. It's intense. So being able to be there, like even for the Survivor game sort of thing that they had for H1Z1 at last TwitchCon, like sure, it was kind of goofy. It was a little bit weird and a whole bunch of crazy shit happened. But oh man, as soon as any sort of firefight was going on, everybody, like nobody even was even cheering for anyone in particular at any point. They were just like, people are playing video games.
I know, it was so good, man. Like you just develop like this new respect for whoever it was that made it into like that final encampment at the very end.
Yeah,
it was like suddenly like these guys are the real MVPs of my entire years of gaming. It was great.
Well, and, like crazy shit. Like what was it? Was it Soda Poppin' actually that like threw a truck at somebody? Like he was in a truck and driving along and like just jumped out of it and almost got hit by his own truck.
Yeah, was it him? I think it was him. And then the Twitch Awards themselves. That was actually really, really well done.
Yeah.
They gave all the I think it was like 3 different awards, like the Innovation Award for Twitch Plays. I think it was like Lethal Frag for the Lifetime Award or something like that. And then there was Chat got an award. For whatever.
Well, they gave the award to Kappa.
Yeah, that's right. And like they put it under like some random dude's seat or whatever, and I just love how the whole thing played out. Like I'm like 1,000% certain it was not staged at all.
Oh yeah, me too.
Because like it just unfolded so perfectly, and then Wheat gets back up. He goes, "That could have gone so bad." But it was, for my one day that I was there, it was great. I have no idea what I would do the other 2 days.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and maybe that's okay. Like, maybe it's cool to have a couple of, because I was mostly just wandering around chatting with people that I don't get to see very often. Like, I bumped into Jimmy Wizenhunt, and I was talking to him for a little while. And I ran into a couple of WoW players, several WoW players actually. Talked to them for a while, like Vajira and Herona and a few other people, and it was really cool just to kind of hang out.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Which is why I think more like networking sort of stuff would be cool, and a lot of like it was an interesting convention because you really kind of felt like everybody there was sort of on the same page. Like the same way you sort of get at BlizzCon, even where you're at BlizzCon and everyone around you is really into Blizzard games specifically.
Mm-hmm.
Like you go to E3 or whatever, you wander around E3 and it's like, okay, there's a bunch of people here. Some of them work in the industry directly. Some of them have found a way to pretend that they work in the industry so that they were able to buy a ticket. Some like, I was walking along at E3. and someone saw my badge and it said Blizzard on it, and they were like, "Oh, Blizzard, that's really, really cool." And I'm like, "You also work in this industry, right? You should not think that's that cool." But yeah, like at something like TwitchCon, you're just kind of like when they give the award to Kappa and you're sitting in the audience, you're just like, "Oh, that's amazing." I just imagine the people on the live stream, A, are going to be just spamming Kappa at that point, but B, will be like, "Oh, that's kind of stupid. They should have given an award to an actual streamer. Why didn't Duck Sauce get an award?" or whatever. Nothing against Duck Sauce. He's actually really entertaining. But actually being there is pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Basically, TLDR, being at TwitchCon is good. You should go to TwitchCon.
It is. It's good vibes. It's good. It feels like a mini BlizzCon, and I think it'll continue to grow. I mean, because they all, they preach the purple,
Yeah.
And Blizzard basically preaches the Blizzard brand.
The blue.
Yeah, the blue. Yeah, exactly. And so it's totally we're all here for one thing, and that's what makes that versus E3 and everything else. It makes it so great. What else is there? Besides like TwitchCon? Oh yeah, Minecon. Minecon was another one actually that I was surprised at how kind of like cohesive the entire crowd was. And
yeah, wasn't that the one that you went to and you were talking about how it was like a whole bunch of like kids following around celebrities or something?
No, that was
that
was YouTube. Else? That was the
you're
VidCon.
right.
That was VidCon.
VidCon, yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
I mean, you're not far off. I mean, there was definitely a youngish crowd at Minecon. But the thing about Minecon was that you could talk to anybody about Minecraft. And it was great. It was just like, just random person. Yeah, Minecraft. Doesn't matter if they're 60 or 12. VidCon was a little bit different because VidCon was very much like a wide assortment. You had gaming personalities like Flitz. Then you had like, I couldn't even name somebody who's not a gaming personality, honestly. But you had like those people over on the other side, the non-gaming people. But it was and so the crowd was very, very, very diverse.
It's interesting. I don't know if it's just because like now I'm older and more financially stable to the point that I can go to more conventions, or if conventions are actually just becoming more popular, and like the reflection on us as a society with the number of like even my guild has a convention now every year. They've had it for like 4 years now, and it's just a bunch of us from the guild. Like it's nothing fancy or anything. I think they're planning on going. I'm probably not going to be able to make it, but I think they're planning on going to like just having a cabin in Vermont somewhere this year.
This is what happens when like guilds get old.
Yeah, exactly.
They get old. They get money. They are able to go and do these things.
Well, and that's the other side of it too. Is like you figure like people like you and me, like me especially, grew up on the internet. Like I had actual friends in real life and everything.
Wait, what the fuck does that mean?
I hung out with. Wait, no. Sorry, that. I'm not saying that you didn't have friends. I'm saying that I was hanging. You know what? Fuck you. Yeah, you don't have any friends. But anyway, like. I kind of grew up on the internet in the sense that I spent the vast majority of my time sitting in front of a computer when I was a kid.
Okay.
I went and hung out with people in real life sometimes, but it was not very, like, it wasn't super common. So now I'm, like, older, and especially now that I'm older and I live in Irvine, California, where, sure, I have, like, coworkers and everything, but I don't have, like, a best friend that I'm like, hey, man, it's Tuesday. You want to go get beers or whatever in this area, because all my friends are back home in Michigan. So nowadays it's like I should go to a convention and just hang out with people for a while because everybody's there and we can just hang out. It's interesting. Like I almost wonder if the internet generation is more inclined to do this sort of thing because most of our social interaction is through like voice chat or something.
It's definitely much more convenient right now.
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely had more, growing up, I was more of a console guy for sure, except for, and only because I had a Mac. So I only had like 3 games that I had access to. So I would I'd hang out with friends like every day because they had like, an SNES and so I'd go over there and I'd fucking play that shit, or like a Genesis or something, you know. But now it's like, it's funny, like you're right, the convenience of having of being able to talk to everybody online is that you don't necessarily need to meet up with them like in person. You know Donis Savanis, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like the guy lives like probably 5 miles away from me, and I only see him like twice a year, which is like, I feel like it's shitty on my part because, you know, he doesn't have like a wife and kid. He could probably come over. We could probably make time to hang out, right? It's totally on me. And like BL Tank and like, you know, TLA and like Hard, like all these guys, they all live in the Bay Area, but like because we see each other online all the time, it's just kind of like, oh yeah, cool, let's play video games. That's what we do anyways if we hung out. Yeah. So like, you know, why bother going out of our way? And that's just kind of like the way that it works almost. I feel like that's kind of, I mean, sure, there's a lot of party games I'd love to test out with like local players because there's no fucking online components. But for the most part, it's just kind of like, yeah, let's just hang out and just online and play fun games, not, you know, Towerfall that we'll play for like 5 minutes and be like, all right, next game.
Yeah. Yeah, like when I think about people like Shizzle, like how many hundreds of thousands of hours have I spent playing games like DayZ with Shizzle online? No idea.
God, yeah.
No idea what he even looks like. Never met him at all.
Yes.
Like I only know I only learned his name actually very, very recently, and I'm obviously not going to share it here, but like this is a guy that I've spent so much time with. I'm like, yeah, Shizzle, he's a good friend of mine. I'm so happy for him. He's doing so well on Twitch and everything. It's really awesome. My little buddy's all grown up and everything. I'm like, holy shit, I have no idea who this guy even is.
Yeah, it's yeah, Shizzle's actually like the best example because my wife's the same thing. She's like, oh, because my wife has a friend in Sacramento, and she's like, oh hey, yeah, next time I go out and visit, you know, my friend, like you can come out and visit Shizzle. And I was like, I don't need to meet that motherfucker. It's like, what am I gonna do? Like, we don't play any. There's no like games that we play together that are gonna be like local. Like, what am I fucking? I gotta take a computer down there and everything. Party. I know.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny how LAN parties have actually kind of fallen off just because the convenience factor of the internet has made it so that having a LAN party is just a pain in the ass now. Like it used to be, you had LAN parties so that a bunch of people could play games together. Nowadays, you have LAN parties to pretend you're 15 again.
Yeah, I mean, I did the LAN party thing. Well, it wasn't like a LAN party. We both connected to the internet and played Diablo 3 when Season 5 came out. That was a lot of fun. Because it was a lot of fun because we mixed like various fun enhancing devices and shit, like alcohol and etc.
Yeah.
And pizza and like something else. I can't even remember what the fuck else we wanted. But basically, it was like a night of eating and drinking and doing just red bullshit and then playing Diablo. And that was actually a lot of fun because we made it a thing. But you're right, it doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah, it's funny nowadays. I'm old and boring, so when I invite my friend Flag over, who's someone who's been in my guild for years, I've known the guy for ages, and now he works in the Irvine area as well. So we actually live relatively close to each other now, and we can like hang out and stuff.
Oh, nice.
And it's cool. And I invite him over, and we hang out, and all we do is sit around and talk because we're old and boring. Like we don't go, yeah, let's hang out, and we'll like we might have a drink. We might play card games sometimes, but usually we'll play like some new card. Like we just played the Space Team card game a couple of weeks ago. It was actually last weekend. We just played the Space Team card game, and we were done with it like pretty quickly. We were like, okay, yeah, that game's fun, and we were done. And like, yeah, man, it's sad. I don't play video games anymore. I do.
Yeah, it's funny how same thing. I go to Ryan's house. Like I'm actually going to Ryan's on Saturday, right? And you know, I go over there every once in a while, like every other weekend or whatever, and we basically just get drunk. And basically what we do, here's what happens. We go to Ryan's and outside of the season 5 thing, right? That was actually a special event. We go, we buy way too much beer for what we're gonna drink that night. So he has like a fridge that's like this crazy collection of like various types of beer because we never finish off what we buy. and so it's like accumulating. And he's a single guy, so basically all that's in his fridge is fucking beer and like Red Bull. And then we'll drink, and then we always end up. He'll buy some fucking game. I don't know what game it is. He'll always buy like some random new game that has multiplayer, and we'll play one game, like one match of this game that costs like $40 or something. And then we'll end up like being too drunk to play, and we'll just watch somebody else on Twitch drunk streaming. Like we'll watch somebody on Twitch that's like drunk and streaming, and that's it. And that's how we do our Saturday nights.
I had Mike Schaffnet over not too long ago. Well, I actually had him over relatively recently, but this was a while ago, I guess. And he came over, and we were like just sitting around, just talking about like me and Liv and him and Ashley. We were just hanging out and talking. And then for some reason or another, I turned on the VOD of the Old Spice Nature Challenge. We just watched that.
Yes, it's weird shit like that. Yes. Oh God,
it was so good.
That's what we do, man. Kenzie comes over, right? Kenzie comes over and she fucking slumbers it here, right? And what we end up doing is basically just watching YouTube videos. And it's like that's all we do all night, fucking watching random fucking YouTube videos. She shows us whatever gaming project she's working on, and then we'll watch stupid fucking music videos.
I bought a while back, I bought Smash Brothers for the Wii U and like a bunch of the pro controllers and everything, so that everybody could have like a really awesome controller and we could play Smash on the Wii U and everything. Invited a bunch of people over. We played it for a little while, and then everybody was like either drunk or tired, and everybody left. At the time, everybody was living in the same. Everybody that invited over was living in the same apartment complex, so everybody just drank a whole bunch, and then we were like, "Oh, we're tired," and they went home. And I haven't really played Smash since. I spent probably about $150, $200 total on acquiring the necessary things to have a Smash party, and now I don't even play it.
And then no one plays it. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's like I need to find a better way to bring games that I own over to a friend's house, because when we were kids, it was like, yeah, just grab the cartridge or the disc and just go over to a buddy's house and you're done. Even now with even consoles are suffering this, where like it's all digital downloads. So what do you take the whole fucking console down to? And they sell like special console carrying cases. I don't know if you've seen them. Yeah. So like you could take the whole thing over to your friend's house and play there. Like, I have so many fucking games. So many games I would actually love to play at like Ryan's house or whatever, and like when we get there, it's just like like I can't load. I have my bullshit ass Mac. I can't load hardly anything on there. Like 5% of the games will work on that, and I can't Steam Link across the internet because obviously the latency would kill it. So it's like, what? Did I just pack up a PC and take it?
Yeah.
But yeah. So I feel like these are some first world problems.
So yeah, basically, conventions are the new social interaction.
Oh, that's what we were talking about.
Yeah. TwitchCon's 3 days now.
Yes.
R.I.P. my liver.
Etc. Rip. Yep.
Yeah. So speaking of things that are going to die. Oh, actually, so speaking of me saying things that die, remember that time that I predicted Antonin Scalia's death? Like...
Dude, okay, I had to like, what did you say? Do you remember what did you say exactly?
It was just something like, you said something about like, so speaking of things that never die or something like that. And I went, Scalia? And I just kind of dropped that in.
Yes,
as
that's
you were
right.
in the middle of saying something. And then 2 days later, he was dead. Now, I don't want to get into politics or anything because we kind of try to stay away from that because it just leads to people shitting each other. But apparently I am Nostradamus.
Yes. Kind of. The beard is lacking. But, yes. And, I mean, just to kind of throw in there, nobody can say that it is not like an excellent twist in the IRL House of Cards like season that we've had so far in this political year that's been unraveling before us.
Yeah, I think I posted something on Facebook along the lines of the 2016 presidential election reality show just got a lot more interesting. It's like one of those, it's seriously like a reality show sort of thing, like the fake drama that they make up where they're like, oh man, they're halfway through the we've narrowed it down to 6 finalists in this year's great American presidential race. And the producers have some sort of crazy ass like made up drama to throw in. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, there's a Supreme Court spot that's open.
I know.
How will everyone react to this? And you can see like a trailer of it, and it's like Obama like and Trump like oh, and like Sanders like got hair. I don't know what Sanders would do, but yeah.
It's been a very interesting political season so far, and without getting like the details, but like it's really interesting to see what's unraveling on my Facebook. My Facebook feed is kind of like it's a mixed bag because there's a lot of my more liberal friends that live here in the Bay Area, right? And that are in gaming. And then there's a lot of my military friends who are obviously a bit more right-leaning. And then there's like a bit more of a mixed bag again in Vegas, because Vegas is Nevada is a red state, right? But Vegas in and of itself, it's kind of like it's very mixed, a little liberal, a little right. But yeah, like I mean, you start to see like, man, last political season, like I swear to God, I had Snopes like open. Like just in a tab like 24/7, because I always had that one army buddy who would post something and be like, "Oh yeah, so Obama fucks mules," and I'm like, "Whoa, hold on a second, it's right here in Snopes. It says that's actually totally fake. I don't even know why you would think that." He's like, "Oh well, haha, that's pretty funny," and he leave it up, and it's like, okay, sure, just leave it up, dude, whatever.
Yeah.
So I feel like that might actually happen. Actually, it is already happening again.
That's kind of how you politics is. You say something wrong, and then you apologize for it later. But the wrong thing that you said will get far more circulation than your apology.
Yes.
So
absolutely.
So you can be like, I heard that Donald Trump wants to eat every American himself with steak, and then someone will be like that. I don't think he actually wants to do that. But later be like, okay, I'm going to issue a formal apology on behalf of Steak. And I'm going to apologize to Steak for insinuating that Donald Trump would eat it while he's eating all of America. And then no one will read that.
Correct. Yeah. The retractions are always on the like back page, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, and unless it's like a really, really embarrassing one for some reason or another, it just doesn't get the social media circulation that the initial like bullshit argument. It's Reddit logic. It's social media logic. People want to share things that sound outrageous. So when someone posts an article that says Hillary Sanders.
No, keep it going, dude. Go.
Yeah. Hillary Clinton is secretly married to Bernie Sanders and hasn't changed her name or something like that. And everyone's like, what? Oh my God, it's big dramas. I want to change it. And then like whatever news outlet, which was probably paid off by the Republicans in this example, was like, oh, sorry. Yeah, we put out a formal apology for insinuating that there's any sort of relationship between Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton. We're sorry about that. But the thing still gets circulated. So
it's all about what supports your personal narrative.
Yep.
And that's all it is. And it's like if you shared something that said, one thing, and then you're like, yeah, fuck that guy. Like you probably won't share the thing that retracts, because it doesn't just make the source look bad. It makes you look bad because you helped promote that piece of whatever it was. So yeah, that's. And Reddit is the same way. Reddit can be a little circle jerky like that. Sometimes they come to their senses for a moment, like when it was like, yeah, Bernie Sanders is gonna get this. This is like 3 months ago, before like he actually started picking up like steam, and people were like, hold on a second, like there's actually a whole shitload of work to do, guys. You guys are dumb. You know, like every once in a while there'll be like a voice of reason in there, you know, but
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just whatever feeds your narrative, and if you have a hive mind narrative, then it's going to be very difficult to get any kind of truth in there.
Yep.
And that's kind of how Facebook works.
Yeah, it's why I tend to just not bother talking about politics, just because I'm not going to change anybody's opinion. It's just not like I could go on, like, obviously I have political leanings of my own. I have a preferred candidate of the potentials that's available. I could go on Twitter or whatever and be like, "Hey, everybody, vote for I don't know, Chris Metzen in the 2016 presidential election," and everybody that wants to vote for Chris Metzen would say, "Yeah," and everyone else would just be like, "Boo! I'm unfollowing you and deleting you from the internet," and I would just get a giant shit fest over everybody who hates Chris Metzen for some reason and doesn't agree with Chris Metzen's politics.
What was the time? You can't talk to white people about politics. Like this is like Dave Chappelle's whole thing about this.
Yeah,
it's like you can't. It's like you talk about politics and it's just like whoa, Dave. So I was fucking my wife in the ass, right? Stop being so personal. Yeah, it's kind of funny how that works, actually. People don't want to talk about this stuff. But you know what? Given how people are crucified on social media, I totally understand.
Yeah.
Completely understand.
Yep. Well, and there's also the whole, like, minefield of, like, I'm in a relatively public position at my company. And so, like, I'm more than happy to share the vast majority of my personal opinions on things on my Twitter account. It's kind of whatever, and I'm used to being shouted at when someone's like, "What do you mean you didn't like Final Fantasy VII and thought it was the most overrated video game in the history of video games?" Not that I would say that exactly. I probably wouldn't use those exact. I would probably use most of those words. But yeah, like just talking about politics is a great way to just create a giant clusterfuck that ruins my life. So I just tend to not.
That's good.
So anyway,
speaking of,
oh
man, I don't. Can you just do this one?
Okay, so. Speaking of the 2016 presidential election,
okay,
by which I mean speaking of the hopes and dreams of our country.
Okay.
By which I mean speaking of the messages laid out for us by the founding fathers of America.
Wow, this is getting good. Good.
By which I mean Boston, Massachusetts.
Okay, yeah, right. I'm following.
So Fallout 4 announced a whole bunch of new DLC.
I feel like there was some missing steps in there.
I got bored.
The the whole, like, you know, post-apocalyptic thing. You could have, like, named a particular candidate that would most likely create that kind of thing and create another rift.
Speaking of Donald Trump,
things that would happen if Donald Trump was elected. Such and such.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So anyway, Fallout 4. They announced a whole bunch of exciting new stuff. So this is what's really, really cool, I think, about this. I'm going to preface this with something else entirely.
Okay.
They came out with their season pass a while ago, and they were like, "Yeah, you know, buy the season pass, you get all the DLC." Very, very standard.
Yeah.
And that was like $20 or something. And now what they've done is they've come out with so much DLC that they're like, or they've announced that they're going to come out with so much DLC that they're like, "All right, I guess we should probably increase the price on the season pass because $20 is fucking steal."
Yeah.
For all of this. They announced they've announced 3 of them so far, and that there will be more after that. And those 3 that they've announced are Automatron, which is it's kind of their medium level DLC. The price is going to be $10, And the sort of thing behind that is that there's a whole bunch of evil robots now around the Commonwealth area. You can hunt them down and collect their parts and build your own robots and stuff, and do robot things. Cool. This sounds interesting. It's something to do. It seems like it's probably along the same sort of level as the settlement building in Fallout 4 was already, and that it's something that you can kind of do if you really want to. If you're not interested in building robots, then don't worry about it. They have this Wasteland Workshop thing coming, where that one's only $5, and that one actually sounds a little bit more interesting to me. It has a lot more settlement stuff that you can do, but it also lets you capture creatures like Deathclaws, and you can tame them and have them face off in battle. So I wanna capture a bunch of raiders and set them up against a Deathclaw and see what happens. But the biggest one is $25, and it's called Far Harbor,
which looks like a completely different game.
Yes,
that one looks good to me.
Yeah, that one I'm excited about. It's a whole new area. They've actually said it's the biggest area that they have ever put into a Bethesda game as an add-on pack. It's you actually go all the way up to the coast of Maine, so you're not even in the Boston area anymore. And this seems really, really cool, and I'm really excited for it.
Yeah, just I mean, we only have basically the cover and the one screenshot for Far Harbor, but if it is how they're describing, that just seems like unreal. It's almost like they just took their existing engine and assets and they're just like, you know what, let's create a completely different experience. And that to me, there was a DLC for BioShock that I regret not getting for Infinite. It was one that took place a different timeline or something like that. I can't remember what it was. But it seems like this one is going to be similar to that, where it's this is a completely different experience that you can have in Fallout 4. Now, I'm definitely a pleb when it comes to Fallout 4. I only have 40 hours in the game. Which is not much by anybody's standards, apparently, but
yeah, I have 86.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is also still not nearly I have 86, and I still feel like I barely scratched the game.
Yeah, so it's but still, I feel like I could get in there and play and continue moving along, but I feel like in terms of thematically, I get it. It's I understand where I'm at. I understand what the current condition of the world is. I understand what I'm going to be facing, right? In terms of environment. And Far Harbor just comes along and it's wow, this looks like a completely different experience, but in that realm. And it's okay, this is a system that I understand. These are gameplay mechanics I get, and this is a character that I've created, and now I'm going to be able to take them into a different into this whole nother experience. And that's something that's what makes this kind of DLC worth it. And they know it. I mean, the price point on that at $24.99 standalone tells us that they get it. This is going to be a completely different experience.
Yeah, and for me, it's more Fallout. It's more to do, and I am happy about this. I'm a big fan of Fallout 4. So, yeah.
Now, did you beat Fallout? 4?
I've beaten it. I've finished the main storyline once.
Okay.
There are 3 different ways that you can take it towards the end.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
And part of that is it makes a lot of sense that this add-on is actually so far away from the Boston area, because some of the choices that you can make are fairly substantially affect the state of the Commonwealth.
Right.
Cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I finished it once, and I plan on finishing it in other ways as well, because I wasn't the happiest with the ending that I got.
Right.
So I'll probably I don't know that I'm gonna play through the whole thing again, but I'll probably find an earlier save before I made a bunch of the important choices and load from that.
Okay.
And go from there.
I do that too, actually.
Yeah, my one big complaint really with Fallout 4 is that it's kind of hard to have different saves in it. I can have my character that I I guess it's not really spoiling anything if I say that I played through with the Brotherhood. I'm gonna have my Brotherhood save, but I just have to remember which one that is. I can't even like name it or anything. And so finding another one again, and if I end up trying to keep several like copies of my character around so that I can have like a version of all the different endings, that would be a huge pain in the ass.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, maybe they just don't want you to do that. So too bad. I'm still gonna do it anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, it's something that I'm looking for. What is there a date on this thing? I actually didn't see that part. I didn't notice.
There's like months on it. So like
Okay.
Far Harbor is May, Automaton is March apparently, and the Wasteland Workshop is April.
Now here's what's interesting. Between now and the next basically 10, 11 days, I can get this DLC for $29.99, right?
Yep.
After that, the Season Pass DLC becomes an entire game worth of money. $49.99 is $49.99. That's like the difference between me saying, okay, do I get a Fallout 4 Season Pass or do I get The Division? You know, like that's in terms of like, you know, someone who's trying to like spend money smart, right? It's like, okay, do I get this or do I get this entire game? It's like, what? And I imagine there's a lot of people probably in my shoes who's like, okay, I can't just like fucking willy-nilly spend money left and right on all this stuff between now and whatever. And it's like, okay, well, how do I divvy this up? $49.99 is a bit much for a season pass. I'll be honest, it's a bit much.
It's worth noting that there's more DLC that they haven't announced yet, which will be in the season pass. So they're saying that it'll be a total of, they say more than $60 worth, which just means that they're going to charge you like individually. It would have cost you more than $60 to get everything.
But what I see is, you know, so the Automatron, okay, I could do without that. The Wasteland Workshop, I could do without that. But the Far Harbor, I feel like I need that. I feel like I need to check that out. Is there going to be another Far Harbor? That's what I want to see is like, okay, are you guys putting in a feature or are you guys putting in a story? Like that's kind of what I would, instead of just saying, yeah, I want to, we're going to have X amount of more DLC, more things coming in the future. Like, well, can you like give me a clue as to what it is exactly you're looking for there? Like, is it going to be a new weapon type or is it going to be a completely new adventure? Like, that's what I want to know.
So we can kind of figure this out, at least make some guesses towards it with just a little bit of math. Because we say, like I said a second ago, they say it's going to be more than $60 worth. So if they say more than $60 worth, I'm assuming that that's like 65, right? Like it's not going to be much more than $60 worth. Otherwise, they would have said whatever that other number is. If it was more than $70 worth, they would have said. If it was $70, they would have said $70. They wouldn't have said more than $60. Anyway, so if we say like 65 as our general expectation for how much it will cost to buy everything individually, and we look at what we have already, there's Far Harbor for $25.
Right.
There's Wasteland Workshop for $5. That puts us at $30. And then there's Automatron for $10, which puts us at $40. So that's $20 to $25 remaining of potential DLC. It's possible that that's another Far Harbor. I think it's more likely that it's going to be a couple of things along the lines of Wasteland Workshop and Automatron. I'm not expecting another Far Harbor out of this package.
That makes sense. Yeah. So, well, good. I just saved myself $5.
I mean, the other side of it, though, is when you think about it, you could buy Far Harbor for $25, or you could buy the season pass right now for $30, and then you get the Automatron and Wasteland Workshop and whatever else happens to come afterward, which could still be another Far Harbor theoretically. I just don't think it's likely. And you get all that for $5. I don't know that. Even if I don't really want Automatron or Wasteland Workshop, even if I wasn't really gonna play those, I would still pay the extra $5 just to get it for $5. It's $5, man.
I know. You're right. It's $5 and then it's fine. Yeah.
Skip a latte one day and you can afford it.
I don't. I fucking don't. But you're right. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I get the point. Like I could skim on something to make it for it. Yeah, and that's how they sell you on it. That's totally how you sell
Oh,
on
for
it.
sure. Yeah. And I have to admit, more than a little bit of that speech I just made is coming from just having done that a bunch at this point. Like, yeah, I mean, if you think about it, you could faction transfer as well as character transfer or whatever. I don't actually remember what comparison that would even be.
Right.
But yeah. Yeah. I'm excited for more Fallout.
Yeah, it looks good.
I was kind of sad when I finished Fallout because it meant that I had finished it. Even though there was a ton more, like there wasn't the main story quest to go to, which is probably, honestly, I say that I'm probably not going to do a complete second playthrough. I'm probably going to do a complete second playthrough. There's so much to do in the game that's just fun. And I'll probably do something like I'll build my character completely differently or something. Maybe I'll have a playthrough where I'm like, no power armor, just not going to do it. No power armor for me.
You should, because I feel like that's such a fucking like.
Oh, it's so overpowered.
It's so overpowered. I feel like, what are you doing? Are you playing on survival?
No. So I should do that too. I should put it on survival. Ooh, that reminds me. We talked last week about how they're making a bunch of changes to survival mode, and that's not in this thing that they talked about. So there's that coming too still.
And that's not something you have to pay for. I like it.
Yeah. So I now have another Fallout boner.
So
good.
Speaking of
it's so good.
Boners. I'll let you take it from here.
So speaking of boners, by which I mean speaking of the erect male penis.
Okay.
By which I mean speaking of the sexual organs of 50% of the human species.
What? I'm intrigued. Go on.
By which I mean speaking of testicles. By which I mean speaking of things that hang sometimes from the back of a truck. By which I mean things that you might hang if you have a truck. By which I mean speaking of fuzzy dice. By which I mean speaking of the 19th annual Dice Awards.
Yeah, the Dice Awards are happening tonight as we record this.
Yeah. Much like
and you get an award for that transition. This is beautiful.
Yeah. Much like sodomy, I got it in the end.
I shouldn't drink on this show. Oh God! All right, so, so we have a list. We have a list. First off, game of the year, shocker, Fallout 4.
Woo!
Kind of hard to. Now the Dice Awards. This isn't like VGX or any other game awards that might happen. Dice Awards are. Actually, you know what? All of them, you could actually say, oh, yeah, this is biased towards X or whatever. But I would say this list actually makes a whole lot more sense than what I saw from VGX last time. So yeah, Game of the Year, Fallout 4. Yes.
Yeah, easy. Yes.
Totally.
I was a little bit salty that whatever the other one that we were talking about a while ago gave it to The Witcher 3. Not because Witcher 3 is a bad game, but because, in my opinion, Fallout 4 is much better.
Right.
So I was happy that Game of the Year went to Fallout 4 for this one.
Yeah, totally. Action Game of the Year, Star Wars Battlefront.
I'm a little bit iffy on that one myself.
Yeah, it's...
Like, I should be upfront. I haven't actually played Battlefront. But
go ahead.
I feel like I have played a lot of games this year, and I don't know. I watched a ton of Battlefront streams. I listened to a whole lot of people talking about it, and no one was ever really seemed like in beta. People were excited about it, and then it launched, and everyone stopped caring.
Yeah.
Like instantly. Like it launched, and no one. Like it was one of the worst Twitch launches in a while. The game came out, and within the span of like 8 hours, it dropped off the front page. It was not long. I'm probably exaggerating a little bit, but it was pretty quick that it dropped off the Twitch front page.
Yeah, it was like 6.5 hours.
Oh, really?
No, it was pretty quick.
Yeah. But that said, I don't know. Like, if we're saying action game of the year, I don't know what else I would put in there.
Well, I'll tell you what else I put in there. Here is what it was up against this year. Destiny: The Taken King. Which that was an expansion, right? It was great.
Expansion.
It was a great expansion.
It was a standalone expansion, but yeah.
Helldivers. Have you played that?
I have it. I haven't played it yet. It's actually, since you mentioned it, I should throw this plug in since it's getting towards the end of February at this point. It's actually free on PS Plus this month.
God, get it then, because it is actually a fun game to
for
play.
both PS4 and PS Vita. By the way, you can
good.
get it. So,
Just Cause 3, which, let's be honest, the only reason why anybody plays Just Cause
was just because.
Just because. Just to strap things to other things and like see what happens when they interact. That's pretty much the only reason why anybody plays that series.
Yeah.
And then Splatoon, which is a Nintendo game, so automatically it's not going to trump something that's on the bigger consoles.
Yeah, exactly.
So I would say
if those were the only other ones in the category, then I can see it. But I still probably would have gone over Destiny over that one, personally. Not least because I've actually played Destiny. I haven't played Battlefront.
There is more content in The Taken King than there is in Battlefronts.
Yeah. Like, farming Oryx, sure, whatever, but at least there's an Oryx to farm.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It just felt like there was a lot more there. Fight game of the year is Mortal Kombat. When I saw that, I was like, okay, cool. I was like,
yeah, that was the fighting game that released this year. Because SF5 just came out, so that would not have been in this.
Yes, exactly. And but family game of the year, Super Mario Maker, absolutely.
Yeah, not surprised at all.
Like, if we could give more awards, if we could just take awards from other people and give it to Super Mario Maker, I would.
Action game of the year, Super Mario Maker.
Yeah, right? Because it's like, I mean, just grab shit, just throw it at it. Because Super Mario Maker it makes me jealous if anybody owns a Wii U. And actually, that is actually one of the other things that we do when I go to Ryan's house is we sit there and we'll pull up random maps and we'll sit there and play them. And the shit is nuts. Like, it's such a great experience playing. Do you actually own it? I know you have a Wii U. Do you have Mario Maker?
I don't have Mario Maker now.
Okay, so but you're not like lacking. Like, you have Splatoon and you have all the other stuff.
Yeah, I have basically every other Wii U game worth playing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Mario Maker is just like it's just an endless supply of content, and you can just play forever. And it's fun, and you can make your own stuff, whatever, and it's very intuitive, and so it definitely deserves Family Game of the Year. If not, any other award you want to throw at it, sure, I'll take it.
Yeah.
Outstanding achievement in a character, Lara Croft.
One.
Oh, I did. Oh, sorry. Oh, yeah. Yes, and we should absolutely talk about this one.
Yeah.
Mobile Game of the Year, Fallout Shelter.
I am a ridiculous Fallout fan. I absolutely love Fallout. I have Fallout shoes. I don't know that Fallout Shelter deserves Mobile Game of the Year. Quite possibly.
Please don't say Hearthstone.
No.
Okay,
no,
good.
No. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love Hearthstone as well, but I would. I don't know. There's so many.
Monument
Valley. That came out like 2 years ago.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
I actually. So the other one that we were talking about not too long ago, Lara Croft Go, I actually bought it after I saw that, and I actually would go Lara Croft Go for a Mobile Game of the Year. or maybe like You Must Build a Boat or something. But I think that was earlier than 2015. Lara Croft Go, that's a really, really ridiculously good mobile game. Fallout Shelter is good, but it's so light on anything.
It's shallow. Once you get past the first couple hours, then you're pretty much set, and it's just a matter of just farming or grinding your way to maximum occupants.
Yeah, I mean, I really, really, my problem, I ruined Fallout Shelter for myself. So I have this thing on my Android phone called it's like Google Opinion Rewards or something. It's basically every once in a while they send you a survey and they'll give you like anywhere from 15 to 50 cents for filling out the survey. And the survey is usually stupid things based on your like location history. It's like, have you been to any of these stores recently? And I'll be like, yes, I went to Target yesterday. And it'll be like, cool, how did you like it? And I'll be like, it was Target. And then they give me 15 cents.
Here's 2/3 of a nickel or a quarter, yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of it at the moment, and every once in a while you get interesting like I actually got a survey once that was like something along the lines of, have you ever played a Blizzard game? And I was like filling it out in the Blizzard cafeteria. I was like, come on, guys. But yeah, it's basically the reason that I'm going through this is because I have ended up, as a result of filling out these surveys, I've ended up with a fairly large amount of Google Play credit as a result. Mm-hmm. And you can only spend that on the Google Play Forest store. I was even get the word
I was gonna just let that roll and just look it up later, but no. I'm glad you caught that.
Whatever. Anyway, so in Fallout Shelter, I had all this extra stuff, and I was like, oh, cool. You know what? I've got all this Google Play credit. I should buy some of these robot guys, the Mr. Handies, and that'll be great. And so I bought like 3 Mr. Handies, and I set them to work in my vault. And then I never needed to play Fallout Shelter ever again. There was like nothing for me to do anymore because they just ran around doing everything. Like I never had to worry about running out of like food or anything like that. It was just completely in total. In fact, I could actually probably, I think I still have the game installed. I could actually probably launch it right now. Yeah. And my guys will all still be fine. I haven't actually played this game in months.
Yeah.
So that is why I think, like, I kind of found Fallout Shelter a little bit shallow compared to something with a lot more, like
more of an engaging story.
Yeah, like more of a game than Fallout Shelter.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Lara Croft, Lara Croft actually got the outstanding achievement in character for Rise of the Tomb Raider.
Hmm.
And I've actually heard this from a couple of people who basically backed this up and said, yeah, this game is way better than the first. And which is funny because I loved the first.
Oh yeah, me too.
I thought the first was fantastic.
It was really good.
People were saying like, oh yeah, how could she go from like this innocent person to like being a stone cold killer? And it's like, well, she did mention at the beginning that she was kind of trained and she grew up around her father or whatever, her mentor, I think it was her father, who was basically Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
And we all know Indiana Jones has no beef with like pulling out a gun and taking out somebody if he needs to. So I felt like, oh yeah, well, she kind of grew up around that stuff, so she knows that she, if she needs to put her thing down, then she will. And I thoroughly enjoyed the first Tomb Raider, and I actually think that I might be missing out by not playing the second one right now.
Yeah, I really want to play it as well. By the way, I got my Fallout Shelter to load after not having actually played this game in ages, and yeah, everybody's completely and totally fine. nothing to worry about in here whatsoever. Completely full on energy, food, and water.
Just go through, click. Accept your new people.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm just gonna close this and not go through that again.
So, Ori and the Blind Forest, it shows up like 3 times on this. Outstanding achievement for original music composition, which I feel like I feel I'm fucking up because I usually follow. It's funny. I have listened to the what's the fucking? I don't even know the name of the game because it just fucking came out. Oh, God. I listen to soundtracks for games. Firewatch, thank you. Yeah, I listen to Firewatch, the soundtrack, more times than minutes I've logged in the game itself. Because I mean that's just the way it is, and the same thing goes with a number of games like Fez. Like I've played Fez a lot. I've listened to the soundtrack way more, and I've heard so many things about the composition, the music for Ori and the Blind Forest. It also has achievement in animation, art direction, and whatnot. So I feel like this would be a game that would be right up my alley. Have you played it at all?
I haven't. No, I had the problem. So I have a problem of being way too empathetic towards cat-like animals in games, and I watched the like trailer for it where like the cat animal's friend died, and I was like, I can never play this game. I will be too sad.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I kind of went, and then people were like, oh man, Ori and the Blind Forest was such an amazing and deeply emotional experience. And I'm like, nope, do not
Can't
want.
do it.
Do not want.
Can't hang. No, can't do it.
I'm not looking for a deeply emotional experience right now. I just want to feel good and play some video game.
Yeah, no, I get that.
I'm gonna go play Overwatch and cry.
Let's see. I mean, Fallout 4 got role-playing / massively multiplayer game of the year, which I think that is interesting.
That those categories were merged? Yeah.
Yeah, they're merged, and I mean, if okay, so let's pretend they're not merged. What else are you gonna give it to you? Like Blade and Soul? That wasn't necessarily released this year. I
guess if you went massively multiplayer game of the year 2015, like WildStar, that came out in 2015, right? Or was that 2014? God,
I mean, Chris Hannell were there. I mean, we should probably know.
WildStar release date. June 3rd, 2014. Okay, so
right.
Not even close to 2015.
Yeah.
Right.
So they put them together probably because there's none.
Yeah, there weren't really any big ticket MMOs that released in 2015.
Because MMO is not necessarily a genre that people are dumping shit into. It's not like the pixel platformer genre or the roguelite genre. You know, it's the zombie survival genre. It's kind of at the end of it's not at the end. It's at the low point in its hype lifespan.
Yeah, I guess you would kind of have to merge those categories because I don't know. Do you have the list of what else was in that category?
Let me see.
I mean, Fallout 4 should win. Don't get me wrong. It should win every category it's in. Should win outstanding achievement in original music composition for the same song that every Fallout game has ever had.
Yeah, I don't actually have it.
Well, all right.
All right, cool.
This one, I love this one. These next... oh, wait, no, I'm skipping one.
Sure, go for it. I'm skipping around.
All right, so sports game of the year. You remember last time... God, what were the rewards we were looking at before? Where it was like sports / racing game of the year, and they picked Rocket League?
Yeah. This
one, I've got racing game of the year, Forza 6. Okay. Sports game of the year, Rocket League. That's really funny.
Mm-hmm.
Outstanding achievement in online gameplay, Rocket League. That one's weird. Like, was the achievement that Rocket League has online gameplay?
It could be just accessibility.
Yeah, maybe.
It's like you could get in and it'll match you up, and there's a variety of different options. There is. I mean, you know there is. There's ranked, unranked. You get in. Yeah. I would say probably in that category, if I could find it, I'm willing to bet that like Hearthstone's in that mix. Because Hearthstone kind of fits that same category. It's like you can get in, you can play ranked, unranked, you can play all these other, you can play arena. There's all these different like online options you can play against other people. That make kind of customized to your experience. So I think it's possible.
Yeah, I was just expecting, like, I would expect for outstanding achievement in online gameplay, it would be a game that had some sort of crazy like new online thing that took off really well or something. But maybe there just wasn't any of that in 2015, and they didn't want to delete the category because there was another reward that they could give to Rocket League.
Oh, hold on a second. Here we go. Oh, I got it right here. So the other ones. Oh, actually, so yeah, the other ones was Rocket League. Hearthstone was another one. So
Okay.
I was there. Halo 5, Destiny: The Taken King, and Splatoon. Splatoon would be another one that I'd say would probably rank up pretty high. But I do think, honestly, I think that the console kind of brings it down. The platform brings it down.
Definitely true. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, no, well deserved.
There's handheld game of the year for Helldivers.
Which I thought was funny because I didn't know that it was a handheld game. I guess because it's on.
It's on Vita.
Yeah, so I guess, which is weird because the Vita will run just about anything you throw at it.
Yeah.
But I see Pokemon Super Mystery Dungeon and Earth Defense Force 2. Have you played Earth Defense Force at all?
I don't think so.
You basically fight like giant alien spider thingies.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I played the first one and it was pretty good. And then Yokai Watch. Basically two Nintendo games and something else. So yes, the Helldivers, which is published by Sony Computer Entertainment of America. Yes, that obviously won. And let's see.
What is this technical impact award for Microsoft Basic? That's weird.
Yeah, let me pull up the actual other one. We can make more sense of it if we see who else is there going up against.
It's kind of like outstanding achievement in fast food, In-N-Out. Like this
you know
seems
what?
a little bit like why is this category even here?
Interesting. Looking at there is no technical anything. There's outstanding technical achievement, but it's like Just Cause 3, Rise of the Tomb Raider, Star Wars Battlefront, The Order, and Witcher 3. Like it's basically just all the popular games from the year. But none of them are what. So I don't know if that's like some random category. They're like, hey, let's award Microsoft something.
Yeah. Strategy/simulation game of the year was Heroes of the Storm.
Okay.
Which makes sense to me because, well, A, it's a pretty good game, but B, I don't think there was much competition in that category
There wasn't, especially considering in that list also includes Fallout Shelter and KSP. So when Kerbal Space Program is in the mix, which is a fantastic game in and of itself.
Didn't they release like 3 years ago, or were they just in early access?
Early access, buddy. That's how it works. That's how it works.
God, these.
What you do,
access...
you keep it early access until you think you have a chance at an award, and then you release the game.
So basically, in 2018, we're going to be talking about the awards that H1Z1 won.
Yes. Yes, probably.
Just kidding. It probably won't win any awards.
Aww.
No. Well, I don't know. Maybe they'll do amazing stuff with it.
Yeah, it's funny. The looking at the sports game of the year, the nominations here. It's like, oh yeah, this makes sense. It's like, oh yeah, it's basically every sport, right? It's FIFA. Okay, yeah, sure. American football, soccer. Okay. NFL. Okay, football. Sure. MLB, baseball, right? NBA, basketball. There's really nothing left. Oh, Rocket League. These are the nominations for sports game of the year. And the winner is Rocket League.
Yeah, that's funny.
Up against every major fucking sport. The only thing missing from that list was like NHL.
Yeah,
and like I don't know, golf.
Tiger Woods 2015. Or whatever,
yeah, and somehow Rocket League. That is a major achievement for these guys, especially considering that FIFA is pretty much like one of the number one played games like in the world.
Yeah.
Like by a long shot. And like pretty much followed by like Football Manager 2015 or whatever the fuck. Like these games are and because they're outside of our like at an event diagram, because they're outside of our bubble, right? Like it doesn't feel like that should be the case, but it absolutely is the case. Like these games are massively popular, but still Rocket League brought it home.
Yeah. So, speaking of Rocket League, by which I mean speaking of driving games, by which I mean speaking of pseudo simulation games.
Ooh.
By which I mean speaking of sports games. By which I mean speaking of driving related sports games, by which I mean speaking of Rocket League.
What?
What's this about? So you put this in the list. What's this about Rocket League and esports?
Oh no, I mean that was kind of covered in all this stuff, but basically, Rocket League's getting another burst of coverage, because they just released on Xbone today, I think, but today as we're recording this, and that's it's a pretty big deal for them. You know, they basically got to double dip on the hype. I mean, they've already had enough, and they already have their custom maps stuff where you can basically customize and do all kinds of crazy stuff, control the gravity and whatnot, the game speed. That stuff's all like perfectly fine. And then so they had all these dips in all these boosts in popularity based on the content they're putting out, because they're putting out good content and it's a good game. And then they're like, oh, now it's available for Xbone. So that's people who own an Xbone is they're actually in for a treat, because they get to kind of experience all that stuff all over again, along with like tons of new content. I mean, you've played plenty of Rocket League, so it's like it's a good game. It's like it's a good like fun game. You can play on basically any platform and enjoy it.
Yeah, I was playing it on my toaster the other day.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, I haven't actually played it in a little while. I've heard they've added a whole bunch of stuff, but still.
The custom match stuff is I think the last biggest thing that they added, but they didn't put in the puck. They advertised the puck like being able to have like ice hockey, but they didn't put it in. They basically had like tiny balls and giant balls, and that was kind of it in terms of like the object that you have to push into the goal. But yeah, apparently there's like a puck and all that stuff that we didn't see in that update, but it's fucking. I mean, what I played the last major update was actually pretty fucking good. Cool. I thought you were gonna segue into Need for Speed.
I thought about it, but then I decided to loop all the way back around and go back to Rocket League.
I appreciate that. No, that's good. That's good.
Yeah. So speaking of Need for Speed.
Yeah. So they're advertising Need for Speed PC. Like, our entire lives have been Need for Speed Hot Pursuit. Need for Speed.
Oh my god, Hot Pursuit! I played the shit.
It's
out of
so
Hot
good.
Pursuit.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. There's like, it's always Need for Speed : something, right?
Yeah.
This time it's Need for Speed : PC.
That's weird.
And that's kind of how they're pushing it. They're basically saying, yeah, it's going to PC.
Is it a port? Because there was just Need for Speed that came out like 3 years ago.
I don't know, but all I know is that what they have, and the reason why I don't know is because I don't play a lot of console games, right? So maybe, but the launch video they showed us was actually very promising looking.
Okay. Cool.
It just showed a lot of like just beautiful looking areas or tracks and whatnot, and obviously cars. And here's the thing about Need for Speed. I love Need for Speed just like anybody else, but I always consider it an arcade racer.
Yeah.
Like it's a racer that like I could play with a controller and I wouldn't think, man, I wish I had a wheel. Right? When I play Dirt Rally, playing with a controller, it's like, man, I need a wheel.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much it, right? So Need for Speed is not that kind of game. But they are really trying to cater to the PC players by adding things in that would be essentially PC specific. And an example of that would be manual transmission, and wheel support. Now you can have wheels for your PS4 and whatnot, right? But I guess they didn't have manual transmissions prior to this, for whatever reason, because an arcade racer, I guess. Me being someone that loves racing sims, I am thinking maybe this might be a Need for Speed that I jump back into. I don't know. What's the last Need for Speed you played?
Oh God. Honestly, the last one that I really, really played was Hot Pursuit. I played a little bit of, I think it was the first Underground.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think I've really played one since then. I did play a shit ton of Burnout 3 though. And
Which
Burnout
is
3,
basically, yeah.
yeah, it's basically the same thing. That game was ridiculously good. I love that game so much. And I was really, really mad when they stopped making Burnouts. I was really mad.
Yeah. It's yeah, so I threw it on the list because I feel like it could be a step in the right direction for racing games, because the next logical step after this would be all these games, like especially racing sims, going into VR space. Like, they didn't say anything, I don't think, that I saw about VR support. Did they? I'll pull it up and just make sure that I'm right here. I'm fairly certain nothing in this release, this press release, said anything about VR support. Nope. Just Need for Speed on PC. And of course they're speaking our language with, if you watch the video, it's like unlocked frame rates. They're just saying it's not going to be 30 frames per second. Yeah, thumbs up.
Yeah.
And it's going to be available through Origin Access.
Ooh.
Or, sorry, available early through Origin Access. Do you know what that is?
Isn't it?
It's
like the premium subscription thing for Origin or something?
Correct. Yeah. It's another sub thing.
Oh, good. We need more of those.
Basically. Oh, yeah. And so, yeah. The other thing is being brought to my attention here. Need for Speed World, which was a thing for a minute, actually closed down because it was apparently so unsuccessful. It lasted probably like a year, maybe, before they shut all the servers down for that. Did not do well at all. I don't even know if we even made to launch status. It's probably still in beta. I have no idea, but that went nowhere. But that's it. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Did you watch the Grammys?
No, I didn't.
You missed off on the shittiest stream you could possibly imagine.
Yeah.
Yep. Just as a you're a cord cutter, right? Like, you don't have cable, or do you?
No, I don't have cable, no.
Yeah, so
for a second I was like, I'm not a doctor. What are you talking about?
So the way they were preaching it was, use as ABC Go, whatever channel it was on, right? Use their app and you can watch it. And so we were like, cool. So we got the app and we signed up for it, and it's a monthly subscription. And so we did the 2-week trial. We signed up for it, and we watched the entire Grammys pre-show. Now, I understand the Grammys is a mainstream awards show, not necessarily popular in our space. But as a musician, it's kind of interesting to see who they're throwing attention to, right?
Right.
And so I was like, yeah, I'm going to watch this. And so they had the pre-show, which was like all of the red carpet stuff and all that. And then all that stuff worked on the app. And then then it's like, okay, and now it's time for the 2016 Grammys, whatever. And then the station it just cut off. Like, the stream stopped. And then a title card came up and said, no local stations, CBS stations, whatever, in your area support this feed. And I'm like,
weird.
I live in the fucking Bay Area.
Yeah. Someone in that, like, there is no way. There's gonna be a ton of them that carry it in that area.
Yeah. No one supported the stream, like, or whatever it was. Like, no one supported it or whatever, like through the their Go app or whatever. And so then it's like, okay, then I'll just watch it online because they're streaming it online. And so I go to watch it online, and what they were doing for so the initial performance was by, I don't even know who opened actually the show. But the performer came on, and let's actually use, for example, The Weeknd. The Weeknd performed a song, duet with somebody else. And so The Weeknd was performing, and instead of seeing The Weeknd perform, what would happen is the main feed would cut to it's like, when you go to a bar and they have like those trivia things, and you could get that little little control thing, and you could basically like do these trivia questions and like win points or whatever, right? Yeah, it was basically like that. It was like, did you know that so and so in 1958 won an Academy Award for a Grammy for whatever. I was like, are you fucking kidding me?
That's amazing.
And then they would in a picture-in-picture they would show the live video of The Weeknd performing, but the audio was the single release, like the actual studio recorded version of the song. Like they didn't even have the license to like stream.
That's amazing.
The live shit.
But they did somehow have the license for the like studio version. That's amazing. Like, how do you have one but not the other?
Yeah. And then for the actual awards part, when people go up and say, and the award for the next douchebag of the year is so-and-so, right? For the award part, they didn't even try to they didn't even like try to show us like the actual shot of whoever's giving out the awards. They actually had a camera feed that was pointed at the crowd the whole time. It was you know what it was? It was a second screen experience.
Yeah.
But they touted it as this is a watch it here.
Yeah, it sounds like what happens when someone is really, really excited to make a stream happen for something and cannot get anything even remotely resembling approval to actually do it.
Yes.
So they're like, okay, I guess at this point, instead of showing this, we'll put it on the crowd. It's still the Grammys, right?
Yeah, it was so like during the opening ceremony, I basically watched Taylor Swift dance in her seat for like 5 minutes.
Nice.
And I was like, okay, cool. That's Taylor Swift. She dancing. She dancing in her seat pretty good, I guess.
That's really funny.
That's about all I had. Yeah, so I was appalled that they would advertise it as one thing and then as a live stream, and then when you go to it, it ends up being just like a very strange kind of haphazardly thrown together second screen experience. And even that was like, even for that, it was like who the fuck cares? Like, I don't want to see what is Katy Perry doing while they're talking about who the nominations are for a category she's not even nominating in. I don't give a fuck what she's doing.
Yeah.
Like, don't show me that. Oh man, it was just so bad. And it's funny. It gives me more. I mean, I'm already impressed with the quality that here in esports and other like gaming productions that we do. How far we've come and how much quality that we were able to pull off. And then to see like television, mainstream television people like unable to pull off even anything even remotely coherent. It's like, oh my god, you guys give me a fucking break.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was my gripe against the Grammys. So,
well, it sounds like it was a really terrible experience for you.
It was.
I would like to express my sincere condolences at your loss of whatever it was.
I mean, we just went back and watched like some other random TV show, so I guess we were okay. I think
it's fine. We just watched Chopped instead.
We was watching like House. Yeah, we're good.
Nice.
We're good.
Cool. Cool.
So you gonna play the Division tomorrow?
I might. I'm not sure how much time I'm gonna actually have to play it this weekend. But I might.
Okay.
I will try to.
All right.
We will see. Are you gonna play the Division tomorrow?
I am. I don't know exactly what time it comes out for me, but
I believe it starts at like 4 a.m. our time.
Oh, that's not happening. Okay.
Yeah.
So I have other things to record tomorrow morning, but I might hop on and play a little bit. Shizzle has given me very explicit rules guidelines saying do not level past 7 because he wants to stay in that 1 through 7 area first.
Oh, I see.
And see what that's like before moving on.
Yeah.
So, which is like, it's funny. It's like, that's like the exact opposite of everything I've ever done. It's like the game launches and you get in and you grind up as high as you possibly can so you get the most OP.
Well, you used to do twinking in WoW. Same thing, really.
Yeah, but the thing is, you can't lock your XP and you can't.
Sure, but you can just like you don't earn XP in the Dark Zone.
Oh, that's right.
You're in Dark Zone
rank or whatever.
Cred or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Well, then you know what? That's what we will do. We will twink in the division.
Yeah, in the open beta.
Oh God.
That's how you know you've made it.
Yeah. Well.
All
right.
I feel spent. I feel like I've run out of podcasts.
I've run out of podcasts. Well, I also had to pee though, so.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so that also signifies the end of a podcast, I think, for me.
Yeah.
You know, if we weren't like, streaming this, I know. Shh. I could just be like, hey, dude, hold on a second, I'm gonna take a piss, and I can pause, and then I can go, and then I can come back, but I can't do that.
Yeah.
That's weird.
That is weird. It's almost like those shows that we used to do all of the time.
Oh man, I tried to be lazy for so long on this show, but apparently we got caught up in it.
It's true. It's that online broadcasting bug, man. It always comes back to bite you in the butt. It's just like sodomy.